On Friday, WWE released another 13 wrestlers, all from the NXT brand. Bronson Reed is the biggest name. He was just the NXT North American champion. We thought he might get promoted to the main roster, and he's not even the only one. The other 12, they're tough to hear. I'm Ryan Joyne. I run NewsToBellTime.com, a website database tracking pro wrestling from around the world. On today's show, we're talking about the releases, and we're talking about what's being said about NXT, WWE, and Triple H. We also have headlines from the weekend. Karl is in the house, and this is the Daily Wrestling News Show for August 9th, 2021, where we sort through all the bullshit in wrestling news to find you the truth. All right, Al, welcome to the show.
I got a buddy of mine who hates those things. I keep on showing him yours, and it just drives him nuts. It's absolutely hysterical. But I get the whole point of it. It's not even just all the YouTube's just like, hey, or finger guns he hates. You know, it's
Al is, of course, referring to the graphics for the YouTube and Facebook stream.
Yeah.
But Al, it was a very newsworthy Friday night. And we've heard some things, rumblings coming out of that after that, and, you know, the reasonings why. But I guess the main story here is the following were released from WWE on Friday. They are Bronson Reed, Bobby Fish, Jake Atlas, Leon Ruff, referee Steven Smith, Mercedes Martinez, Giant Zangier, Ari Sterling, Kona Reeves, Asher Hale, Tyler Rust, Zachariah Smith, and Denzel Dejournette. So those are the releases. That's the topic of the day, Al.
I don't know, right? I'm not in these budget conversations. Everyone's saying budgetary reasons. I'm not in those meetings. I have no idea. Guys, Bronson Reed, exactly, just North American champion. Leon Ruff was being used. He was at Stand and Deliver. He had a huge feud with Swerve going into that. So you got two guys that were on the biggest NXT show of the year. They're gone. And Tyler Rust, he was just put in a new stable. So now Diamond Mine is down a guy. And then we're kind of thinking maybe Bobby Fish would join Diamond Mine and give him something. Now he's gone too. I guess I get it, but I don't get it at the same time. Like these guys, some of these guys were being used, but then you got a guy. And with all these releases that have been coming out, specifically on the NXT side, you know, I'm trying to update ProWrestlingPick'em.com. I try to keep the rosters fresh, and so everyone knows it. Oh, wow, Kona Reeves made it. Wow. Kona Reeves made it. Kona Reeves still around. Kona Reeves. And he finally, I guess, he took the – I don't know if he was exactly hiding under a desk like you were just making a joke that the guy on Twitter was doing. They was noticed, but Kona Reeves hasn't been on TV in probably about 3-4 years.
What a survivor. What a survivor, basically.
Yeah, right. So I guess it was only a matter of time with him, but now there's only a matter of time for everybody else. Now everybody else is that's not on TV. I guess now it's only a matter of time.
Well, here's some things that have kind of come out and what's being reported by multiple sources. Actually, I shouldn't say multiple sources. Multiple news outlets are reporting this sort of narrative that goes along with this. Up until 2019. WWE was stockpiling talent for a couple of reasons. Primarily, when you're looking at NXT talent, they were stockpiling because they were going to do NXT satellites around the world. So they were stockpiling people so they could populate those satellite performance centers with some native talent. They were also preventing talent from signing with AEW, which is why some people got big contracts like the Good Brothers and things like that. So the global pandemic starts. First and foremost, AEW gets television, and the shift focuses away from performance centers around the world to NXT on USA. So that put it they pump the brakes on your global expansion of performance centers. And then we had the global pandemic hit, which brought it to a screeching halt. Now, we're a couple of years into this thing. WWE has now taken the attitude that AEW is not really competition, and they are not as fearful of people on the open market signing with AEW and making a difference for them. And with that said, now they're cutting a lot of the talent that they had stockpiled. What was interesting about this one is, for the first time, there's a report out that Triple H was not involved in the decision making of who got let go here. Dave Meltzer reported that Triple H and Shawn Michaels had nothing to do with the cuts. Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, and Johnny Ace made all the decisions. It's the first time we've heard anything like that. There's also reports from PW Insider that the departure of Canyon Seaman from the talent relations department was a signal that things were changing in NXT in terms of recruitment and whatnot. And then also you got Fightful, PW Insider, and the Wrestling Observer all talking about major shifts in the entirety of the NXT brand, younger, bigger, and back to a more developmental purpose. They're not going to be focused as much on being the third brand. They're going back to development. Find me wrestlers that can main event WrestleMania a few years from now, not people that can main event TakeOver 36 or 37. So that's the narrative that's been crafted around this whole situation that's kind of coming out of this latest batch of releases. And like, I guess this was just a big NXT release, and it felt very public as opposed to the last ones. You know, when we talk about The Fiend and the ones that came before that, they were mainly WWE guys and, you know, not making a big impact on the main roster. This was a big NXT cut, and I think it started asking all these questions.
Yeah, I don't get it. This is a developmental program. I guess you have to worry about TV ratings because you have the contract with USA now, and you want it to be developmental, which is fine, and it was that at first. You know,
Yes.
you got the Shield out of it. You got the Wyatt family out of it. You got the Four Horsewomen out of it. I would say, I haven't looked at it, I want to say over 80% of WWE's main roster guys right now were in NXT at one point in time or another.
I think we can count on one hand, the number of wrestlers that have debuted on WWE in the last 5 years that didn't go through NXT. Good Brothers, AJ Styles, Ronda Rousey. Those are the only ones I can think of.
Yes, and then Naomi is the only one, and even Natalya was in NXT. She went to put over Charlotte. Naomi, I don't think has ever been in NXT, and that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. The whole women's division came from Hunter. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but I don't get it because, you know, yes, you want the next big things. You want them trained correctly to the point where when they get the call up, you're good to go. But then Hunter does that with everybody that he sends up.
Yep.
And, we got nothing to do with it. Bronson Reed, I'm sure we have nothing to do for him. And I think they just, instead of making him look stupid on the main roster, as they've already done, people can argue, already done to Karrion Kross and to Keith Lee and to, you know, Finn Balor after he came back. Even though Balor it was okay, but I'm sure there's other guys that just, off the top of my head, Lars Sullivan, like, I know he kind of, you know, shot himself in the foot here, but they tried twice with him and couldn't get anything. Meanwhile, he was a monster in NXT, and he was feared, and everything was. So I don't know exactly what Vince wants. If I'm a Triple H, I'm like, A, I'm the greatest person of all time, but B, what do you want me to do here? Like, what more do you want me to do? I can't do any more than I'm doing for these guys.
Right. I think as far as I can say, like, I think the execution on the NXT side has been mostly good to great, right? Like we're not talking about a lot of bad stuff coming out of NXT, and they get promoted to the main roster, and often the ball gets fumbled, to use a football metaphor. But I guess when you think about there have been a few monsters, right? You mentioned Lars Sullivan, Roman Reigns, right? The last couple of years, though, it feels like they've gotten smaller, right? Like your Garganos, your Ciampas, your Coles, your Fish, your O'Reilly, much smaller. Keith Lee, Karrion Kross. Those are two big guys that went up, and they got both of them were bumbled starts.
So, yeah, and now Keith Lee's bumbling to start again. You know, like he's trying to start again. And now he's got this thing going with Karrion Kross, which is fun. I like it. But, I got intrigued both times they fought the last 2 weeks. Okay. I don't really care if this is Raw. I want to see these two, you know? But, it's just not this. Whatever. Everyone's just got a bad taste. It's just, I think that you turn on wrestling and you see red because it's Raw and you're just like, this is, because, you know, SmackDown is not a different show. It's just blue. And all of a sudden people are like, oh, this is so much better. But yeah, it's funny you say that. So I think this is the next topic I want to talk about anyway. And I made the rosters, I made the graphics. All these guys are small. So what is the thing? Vince wants guys that can main event WrestleMania, which means they're big, and they want them under the age of 30.
Right.
Right. Okay. I have both NXT rosters because the UK is involved with two, and I guess maybe it's only a matter of time before the UK starts getting killed with cuts because they've kind of other than the speaking out movement, a couple guys here and there, they've kind of dodged these bullets. So
yeah.
We'll put up the NXT roster first. So now I believe the phrase used "no midgets," which is let's just leave that. I don't know what the height. Whatever. It's just a bad phrase nowadays.
So, by the way, the "no midgets" was a quote that Meltzer got from somebody with inside the company.
I'm sure that wasn't true. I'm sure Meltzer made it up and just blamed somebody else.
Okay.
So, so you look at the roster right now. This is the current active roster right now. So you're going to take out Karrion Kross. You'll take out Adam Cole because they're both to believe to be going up. And Adam Cole, I guess we'll get to in a segment. Okay, so big guys under the age of 30. Looking at this I'm not looking at the women's division because they're all small. They're all, with the exception of Raquel Gonzalez, they're all small. So I don't know if you want to put that into this whole thing. But if you got Samoa Joe, who just got fired, but then Hunter got pissed, rehired him. So we'll keep Samoa Joe off this list as well. So you got Karrion Kross, bigger guy. He's age 36. That doesn't count, right? Ridge Holland, big dude. He just came back. He's 33. Top Dollar. We just got Top Hit Row. He's 31. So even Top Dollar's 30. He's over 30 years old. And then the only person on this list, and they're looking at him, and he was already there, but then sent back down because of an idiot, is Austin Theory. He's 24. So Austin Theory is the only person on this entire roster that fits this build as regards of size and age. So are they going to release the entire roster? I guess is my question. Like, this is stupid.
Yeah, well, it's the idea of a change in direction. And BJ Pavanka, by the way, I see your comments coming in. Like, we'll get to those in a second. But the idea of the change in direction, right? Once they've made a determination that the guy's not going to make it, right? That's not going to make it on the main roster. They're not going to waste their time anymore. It seems like. So Bronson Reed, they looked at him like 3 times to see whether he's going to go to the main roster. And then he cut him. Whether they cut the whole roster, it doesn't feel like that's the case, but it sure does make me worried as I look at the list and I see a guy like Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, those guys that have always killed it on NXT. Well, they don't fit the bill.
No.
And I think they both said they don't want to go.
No, that was the best thing that could have happened. I think Ciampa got injured. They had one match as DIY when they came up. I guess it was with a huge Karl up. And they had a match. And then Ciampa got injured. And I think that was the best thing that could have ever happened to them. I think they'd be gone. They'd be gone right now. Yeah.
The early comment from BJ a few minutes ago, unpopular take. This is a smart move long-term in the direction for NXT. It's been WWE's biggest advantage over the promotion's great homegrown stars. They need to develop top guys to be their next Cena, Orton, etc. It lets them focus on the performance center guys. It sucks for everyone who got cut, though. And I think, look, that's, this is you're kind of laying it out there, right? Like, NXT, it seems like, has been distracted from their mission of developmental while they were putting on the USA show. Now, they're not getting rid of the USA show, but if they focus more on the developmental aspects, maybe they can build more for the future. Because if you look at the past couple of takeovers and some of the top guys, and if you even look at the roster that Al just had on the screen, there's not been a focus on getting those guys ready for the main roster. Like we just mentioned, Ciampa, Gargano, some of the biggest guys were never really being planned for the main roster. They were planned to make the NXT product great. It seems now we're going to the mission of NXT product will be great because it can be great, but that's not going to be the focus. The focus is going to be able to get people up and into the main roster circulation.
Okay, I got 2 small arguments. I'm not arguing with that, but there's arguments against that because, okay, so you're looking for the next John Cena, you're looking for the next Roman Reigns, you're looking for the next Steve Austin. Those are exceptional people. It's like me playing. I'm trying to be the next Babe Ruth. No, you're not. I'm not going to be Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth
Right.
is the only Babe Ruth. Like this, what he did was ridiculous. And now, how are you supposed to be the next John Cena when you keep bringing John Cena back? When you keep bringing Goldberg back? So they're contradicting themselves. I understand where we want. That's the motivation. I want to be the next John Cena. I want to be the next top guy. Great. You're going to have to wait about 20 years to do it. And plus, you're probably going to get thrown into the wheel. They're thrown out. They're thrown back in. They're thrown out like Finn Balor or Samoa Joe. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. What John Cena did, what Hulk Hogan did, what Stone Cold, The Rock, now Roman Reigns, it's exceptional.
And
They are they're the go to Olympics, gold medals. Like that's it. They are the best ever.
I also think that there is a conflict in creating stars like that now, because WWE, I think, puts the brand above all else. And there are very few people that are booked and built to that level that we're talking about. Like Roman Reigns, he came back from being out. He went straight to the top. He was already the top guy. John Cena, he was the top guy, but he became a top guy in a different time. And now John Cena comes back. They announce him for a house show. 65% of the tickets in Fort Myers were sold after John Cena was announced for the house show.
Yeah.
So it's like these guys make a huge difference. They need to create more of these guys. And yes, you're right. All those guys are sort of exceptions to the rules, but we haven't had an exception to the rules since John Cena. Roman Reigns is not even John Cena.
No, well, John Cena's on another level, but you had Bray Wyatt, you had the merch guy, you had the guy selling the tickets, you had Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
What the hell? I see. That's what everything is. The reports that are coming out and what's going through my head and the conversations, everyone's having, everything contradicts itself. That's why this whole thing. I'm shrugging my shoulders. Like, what more do you want from these guys? And then Brian, just keep going because I have the NXT, like I said, the NXT UK roster. Here we go. These are some bigger guys. There are some big, athletic wrestlers that are on here. Like Walter. Walter is the guy. He is Roman Reigns, Kenny Omega, everything all wrapped up into one for NXT UK, and he is going to steal the show at TakeOver next weekend if he doesn't steal the entire weekend that match. He's 33, so he doesn't fit the bill. Rampage Brown, 38. Joe Coffey, 33. Bomber Dave Mastiff, 37. Mark Coffey, 33. Wolfgang, 34. Sam Gradwell just missed it. Bigger guy, he's 30. And the only guy who's going to have, actually, we're going to see it, Ilya Dragunov. Ilya Dragunov, 27, and I'm making an exception. I think he's bigger than what I'm making him out to be, but he keeps on fighting bigger guys. So he's 27. So out of both rosters, Austin Theory at 24 and Ilya Dragunov at 27. So is Dragunov versus Theory the main event of WrestleMania 42?
It doesn't seem like it. So then take this a step further, and when you look to the past, Randy Savage was a guy who got aged out in his 40s. And now you got to be 40 to make the main roster. So what happened to the 23, 24-year-old guy on the main roster? Because when John Cena debuted, let's just stick with John Cena. When John Cena debuted in WWE, there wasn't an NXT.
No.
And he wasn't there right away. He wasn't at the top of the card right away. It was a few years, right?
Yeah.
It was 5-6 years or so. But I don't know his age, so I can't speak to it. But let's just say he was 25 when he debuted. That means at 30 or so, he would have been toward the top of the car. And by the time he was 35, he was a phenomenon.
Yeah. I want to say he won in 2 years. He main evented in 2 years. Because he was supposed to debut at 19. He was in the 2003 Rumble. So there you go. So he was in the 2003. I mean, he was heel, coming out rapping. And he was supposed to have a rap battle with somebody on the pre-show of WrestleMania 19. Didn't have it. Beat Big Show at 20, beat JBL at 21. So it took Cena 2 years. But again, the crowd reaction, Vince listened to the fans with him. He had, I call it Austin's disease, where you're such a bad guy to the point where guys are cheering from you and you take off.
Right. But he was almost let go a couple times. Yeah. Right? They almost passed on him too. So
it's one of those things. And the funny is, okay, so we want younger guys. Well, here's the problem you have now. because every guy who was talented at a younger age or bigger in size at a younger age, guess what? You can see them on Wednesday nights now. They're already in AEW. Cody already hit that market. You're shooting yourself in the foot right now because this was 2 years too late.
Yeah. Well, there always are new 22-year-olds. There's a new batch of them every year, so you got to grab them. And we'll probably grab some of these Olympians and stuff like that. But just before we leave this topic, when you brought it up in the beginning, the Tyler Rust one, that we can go through all the list. You did a good job of setting that up. But Tyler Rust, this poor guy, he makes Diamond Mine. You know what Diamond Mine is now? It's Roderick Strong with a coach and a manager. It's not a faction. It's just Roderick Strong. So they spent months building up this thing. We didn't know what it was. It turns out to be a faction, which was really only a tag team, which was really 2 singles guys, and then now it's just 1 singles guy with a couple of supporting characters behind him.
Yeah, I don't. It was a Hideki Suzuki,
and I haven't seen him in a minute.
Yeah, I've never seen him in the ring. He hasn't done anything. I don't know. You just don't know. And the thing is, like I said, on my list of rumor whatever we didn't get to yet, there's more coming. Apparently, This isn't it for the end of the year. There are more releases to come by the end of the year. I don't know if this is where the UK has to eat a bullet, but who is left? I mean, you're using everybody now. Even on the main, everybody's being used. Everyone's present and accounted for. You're being used. What more do you want now?
Yeah, that's the tone that we're getting from every place. We're hearing that from the same, I mentioned before, Observer, Insider, and Fightful, all reporting that there's more coming this year, that this isn't done, and it's not going to be done until they achieve, back to where they have a few top guys and a whole bunch of developmental guys.
Yeah, I just don't know
where they want to be.
Everybody's going to go. AEW, I'm keep saying this, and they keep on just doing it anyway. But the roster's too big. They're getting a second show. It's a 1-hour show, though, right? I mean, there's still not enough room for everybody in AEW. Impact's getting jammed up because the Forbidden Door is just come on in. But their roster's good enough as it is. Like, where are these guys going to go? I mean, I know there's always a spot for Bray Wyatt, but Leon Ruff, Ring of Honor, guys like Leon Ruff or Jake Atlas or the guys that are
that's the other thing.
Kona Reeves, where the hell Kona Reeves ain't going to be all elite. I'll laugh my ass off if I see that graphic.
That's the other thing. These Jake Atlas, your Ari Sterling, who was Alex Zane, these were guys that were about to really break through and become huge stars on the indies. And hopefully the indies come back in force. I mean, I know they're back to a large extent now, but they're not where they were before the pandemic. And you could probably make 3 more companies with all the people that WWE's released this year.
No, I really didn't look at the list too deep in this nation, but we should have I should have did the research and fit the demographic. Are all these guys either too small or over the age of 30? Bronson Reed's over 30. If he's been wrestling for 14 years, he's got to be over 30.
Bobby Fish is an older guy. Bronson Reed's an older guy. Jake Atlas is a tiny guy. Leon Ruff's a tiny guy. Referee Steven Smith, he's a referee. Mercedes Martinez,
older.
Giant Zangier, not as big as Omos. Ari Sterling, older. Kona Reeves, I haven't done anything with him in 2-3 years. No. Asher Hale, small. Tyler Rust, older. Zachariah Smith, another big guy. Denzel Dejournette. He's had several attempts, I guess. So for the most part, yes.
All right, then that's what. All right, so we got 2 guys on both NXT Raw on the male side. The women's, I'm not doing the. They're all younger than. I'm assuming most of them are younger than 30. They don't look older than 30, with the exception of Miko Satomura. But they're all.
Well, hopefully, some of and BJ brought this up earlier. There's a role for some of the guys to help the new guys.
Yeah.
So hopefully. There is going to be a section of the brands that are left for those because, man, we don't want to see Gargano and Ciampa leave and stuff like that.
If you want to see ratings plummet in NXT, you release Ciampa and Gargano. I mean, they are the mainstays. Everybody is the way is absolutely hysterical. Everybody tunes in for something on Tuesday nights. If you have to pick one thing, I guarantee you, about 30% are like, I want to see the way. They're hysterical. I tune in for the way.
No. Well, hopefully all this starts to make sense in a little bit, and hopefully not that maybe more people lose their jobs. But let's shift our focus, Al, to SummerSlam, because we've got a couple of new matches for SummerSlam. And why don't you – hey, we found out – here's some good news. We found out that Impact is running Friday night, not Saturday. So the SummerSlam special goes forward. 3 p.m. will be your pre-show for the pre-show. Al, take it away. Give us the rundown on the EWP SummerSlam special.
Yeah, it's gonna be we're gonna be about 5 or 6 guys strong. It's just we're gonna dissect each match. We're gonna pick our winners. We're gonna talk about maybe some theories going forward. It's fun because you can spend more than 30 seconds, on these types of matches, and that's why we wanted to give it. Also, we want to do it on the Saturday so that SmackDown's done and we can we have the full card. We have everything to go. So the guys have a lot of fun with it. It said, John Smith, John DeConnie, it said, unfortunately, Maggie May can't make it. I know there's going to be no spoilers on this episode because Maggie May can't make it. Who's absolutely killing it on the WWE side on the pick and pull. I think she's 23-1, and she had one match wrong.
And 1 point ahead of me.
It's going to be a lot of fun. They always are.
And we got 3 new matches for SummerSlam since we last spoke. We've got the Usos versus the Mysterios. We got Edge versus Rollins. We got Bianca versus Sasha. So the card is 6 matches strong now. So we're starting to see something come together here for SummerSlam.
Yeah, I'm intrigued tonight. Maybe they'll book the big tag team match between Eva Marie and Doudrop against Alexa Bliss and Lily. So maybe that'll be.
Maybe that gets added tonight.
I think they get added tonight.
All right, well, we're going to go to break real quick. Before we do, I want to let you know, Jeff Johnson commenting on your kitchen, wondering if you have any coffee for him. So you think about how you'll get some coffee to Jeff Johnson. And when we get back, we've got some more rumors and headlines to get into. So stick with us. See you in about a minute. If you love the Daily Wrestling News Show, then I want to tell you how you can support us. First, check out bodyslamclothes.com. You can get a variety of shirts for just $20. And all of them come in the super soft style, and the price you see includes all sizes and shipping. Get 10% off 2 or more shirts with the promo code SHIRTS10. Go to bodyslamclothes.com right now to check it out. And join Joey Jarzenka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca on Monday nights for the Primetime Rundown. They take you through the world of sports, and the show kicks off each Monday at 7 p.m. on the Eastern Observer. And each Tuesday, Karl hosts the Essential Wrestling Podcast alongside John Smith, myself, John DeConnie, and Gary Mahaffey. It's another week of updates and highlights in the world of wrestling. Here are our analysis on who we think is going to win the week's matches. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. on the Eastern Observer. And Pro Wrestling Pick'em. It's a place where you can join or host a Pick'em League to test your predictive skills in the world of pro wrestling. Create an account and join a league now at ProWrestlingPick'em.com so you can play against your friends or play against the universe. And the Body Slam Brigade newsletter, currently going out to over 4,200 people each Friday. It consolidates all the top stories in professional wrestling into a quick-to-read email written by me for you for free. Sign up now at bodyslambrigade.com. And of course, this show, the Daily Wrestling News Show. We're here every day, Monday through Thursday, and occasionally on Friday. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or watch us live on Facebook and YouTube at 10 a.m. This is the Daily Wrestling News Show, and we thank you for your support. Okay, well, we are back, and Al, you have done some digging around the internet and found some things you want to talk about.
Yeah, I got a list of did some research this morning. Maybe you can find out, you can sort through this. I know you and John DeConnie like to do it. So I figured I'd just try to help the news. I'm not really a big news guy. I like predicting, making theories and stuff. But I dug some dirt up for you, and I heard that Adam Cole, not only was he backstage on Friday night for SmackDown, he had a big meeting with the boss man. He was also offered a $1 million contract.
So this $1 million contract thing, I'm going to have to dig into a little bit more. Apparently, this is coming from Dave Meltzer, who I guess must have said it on Wrestling Observer Radio that Cole was offered $1 million contract or something. He hasn't written that anywhere, so I don't know about that, but it's been picked up by a bunch of other people. What I will say, though, is that according to Fightful, there was pitches for Cole on both Raw and SmackDown. So should Cole stay with WWE, it seems likely that he'll be on the main roster. Apparently, everybody's really high on him. But, man, I don't know. I don't feel good about Adam Cole on the main roster.
Not at that price. To just find out that they don't like these prices. Like this is Adam Cole's gone in 2022. I mean, for your 200th episode. You know, I'm already 2 for 2 on my predictions. The war's starting in Impact with all the other companies, and I'm correct. Well, I will be correct this Friday or next Friday, CM Punk. But that would probably be my prediction, that Adam Cole is gone by after.
I think, if he signs a contract of that size, I don't think he's here when we're talking about this next year.
Also found the rumor, get this ready, Raw Underground is still going on every single Monday, but it's so secretive now that it's not televised.
Well, there might be something to that. But it might not be
Raw Underground.
Yeah, I think that's a joke.
Okay. Chelsea Green, she can use her real name in other promotions now. I guess maybe she was doing something illegal by using her real name in Impact the past couple of weeks.
Well, there was a trademark dispute between Chelsea and WWE. WWE filed to trademark Chelsea Green prior to Chelsea Green filing for a trademark to trademark Chelsea Greens. But now WWE, as of Sunday, dropped their trademark request. So now Chelsea Green can be Chelsea Green.
How is that possible? Like, it's like, why do you have to trademark your own real name? Like, that just blows my mind. I saw this. I'm like, this can't be true.
My guess is the WWE didn't realize that Chelsea Green was her real name.
Maybe, yeah. News, actually, we have our first Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer. Okay, so way back when, right, in WrestleMania 2, Jimbo Covert competed. He was one of 6 NFL stars, including William the Refrigerator Perry, who's a WWE Hall of Famer. But Jimbo Covert this weekend became the first player in those 6 guys to be elected to the NFL Hall of Fame, the correct Hall of Fame where he's supposed to be.
And keep me straight here. Refrigerator is in the WWE Hall of Fame. None of the other guys are.
The other guys are not. There's a lot of Hall of Famers on that in that battle royal, but the Fridge is the only one in the celebrity wing.
Right.
5 of the 6 guys, including Fridge and Jimbo Covert, both of them represented the Bears, so both of them got huge pops in Chicago for being in that battle royal. But 5 of the 6 guys are Super Bowl champions. I thought that was pretty cool. The only one was, I believe, was Bill Fralick. Poor bastard had to play for the Falcons and the Lions. So he really didn't turn out there. But the 5 Super Bowl champions, but only 1 true NFL Hall of Famer, and that was this weekend. It was Jimbo Covert.
Well, Jeff Johnson chiming in on the midgets, apparently not allowed to work in NXT, but they're okay on Raw and SmackDown, referring to Adam Cole, and mentioning that WWE says they had proof Chelsea gave permission to trademark. Now that's how they could do it, I guess, Jeff's saying.
Now, you say it was doing midgets. I mean, I've been noticing on SmackDown the drone flying around. I think Raw's got a little. Are those like CGI, or did Max Mini just up his game from the blimp that he used to use back in 1997?
That's Max Mini.
Yeah, Max Mini.
Yeah, it's not a CGI or any graphics. Yeah.
It is Max Mini. Good.
Yeah, it's Max Mini.
Like I say, I actually heard. I don't remember the show Full House back in the day. It was a little weird. That both Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen both played Michelle Tanner. They were identical twins. But I'm also hearing rumors that Asuka is actually played by identical twins as well. Is that true?
No. There you go. Let me hit the bullshit marker on that one.
We'll bring up Suicide Squad real quick. We'll talk a little movies. We'll talk a little non-wrestling for a second. John Cena, they pulled $26.5 million this weekend at the box office, about $3.5 million short from the projection that Time Warner had for them.
Wow, Jeff Johnson bringing the heat, by the way. Mary-Kate and Ashley were playing Michelle Tanner because of child labor laws.
He's swinging through the PS3. Next fell short. Also, Space Jam currently recently came out, $31 million. Jungle Cruise, The Rock's movie, came out $35 million. They all fought the original Suicide Squad, but in $133 million opening weekend. So you just see no one's going to the movies now. This is a problem for everybody going forward. I know HBO Max has a lot to do with it. Disney Plus has a lot to do with it. Any thoughts? Did you see the Suicide Squad? The Suicide Squad. I watched it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was better than most of the DC movies that they put out.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing the Suicide Squad, but I didn't get to see it, so not yet anyway. But I'll see maybe John Cena on SmackDown Friday instead. But
You can't see him, but you can see John Cena actually because his character, the Peacemaker, is coming out with an HBO Max, whatever. He's got his own show, spinoff from this, called Bleep. It's Peacemaker, and the bleep begins with an F. So as you can see, this movie is a lot of cursing, especially from John Cena. I don't know, a lot of blood in this movie too. John Cena broadening horizons. Got another movie coming out that's kind of inappropriate for kids too, about being vacation friends or something like that. It's really
right. Yep.
And then the last item I have on my list is, again, non-wrestling related. About the past Olympics, we found out that all Olympic throwers shave their hammers before competing. So my question, a two-part question. One, is this true? And two, does a hairless hammer really make the hammer perform better? I'm assuming it makes it look bigger, though.
I have no idea what you're talking about now.
You don't know the hammer throw?
I do know that, but
they shave their hammers down. It's a hairless hammer. I guess it's more aerodynamic. It's
a hairless hammer. Okay, yeah, that makes sense if they shave it for sure.
That's all I got. They can't all be gold, I guess. Right.
No, that was funny once I got it.
Yeah. You shave it a little bigger though, right? I mean, what?
All right, I have a couple more things. Let's see. You covered Chelsea Green. You covered Adam Cole. PW Insider confirmed that Kaylee Ray of the NXT UK brand, she is in the United States. So she is in Florida. So we can expect to probably see her pretty soon, I would think. AEW cracked 1 million viewers for the 4th straight week. And Tyrus, Brodus Clay, won the NWA Television Championship last week. So,
my mom, my Funkadactyl routine.
That's right. Al, you actually were one of the Funkadactyls, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, right. I got to keep kayfabe here. No.
All right. Sorry. All right. Monday Night Raw tonight, we have Bobby Lashley has something to say to Goldberg, and following her loss in the hardcore match to Nikki Cross, Charlotte Flair will speak to the WWE Universe. So have your eyes glued to Monday Night Raw tonight.
Yeah, Rhea's going to probably get involved in that. It's about time Nikki and Rhea start getting at it, to set up SummerSlam. So Nikki squared up with Charlotte, even that feud. Yeah, I guess. Shaking head. I get that one too. I think it's time for Nikki and Rhea to start getting at it to try to set up, like I said, the triple threat going forward with that.
Makes sense. All right. Well, Al, did we leave anything out?
No, we mentioned Eva Marie, so I'm good.
Right. Well, we have now anyway.
Yeah, we did. Oh, was that pre-production? They said no. The big match is going to be Eva Marie and Doudrop versus
that's right.
Alexa Bliss and Lily.
Yep. Look for that announcement tonight on Raw.
Yeah, Lily ripping off El Phantasmo, who's ripping off the Undertaker. It's a double rip right there by Lily last weekend. That was crazy.
For Al, I'm Ryan. We'll see you tomorrow.